This is the Kicking It podcast where we talk all things women's rugby league.
And stories to inspire and entertain. Come kick it with us.
Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It. My name is Kiana Takairangi.
And I'm Corbin Baxter.
And we are your hosts. We're usually really excited. Today, not so much.
No, not today.
We're in the loser's circle.
The loser's circle. And we've got another loser here with us today.
We do.
We do. She is a Kiwi Fern, Melody All-Star. She has made a New South Wales Blues appearance back in 2018 and a current Newcastle Knight, Nita Maynard. Neats, welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming. I think we chatted about this a fair bit ago. So to see this come full circle, it's really awesome to be here.
Yes, we're really happy to have you.
So excited to have you. Your first podcast, so it's
Yes.
an honour to have you on.
I know, breaking the seal. I never thought that I'd actually go on a podcast, and then you guys got one. I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like you've got stories, so you'll fit in really well.
You got a lot of stories. We're not sure how much time we'll give you to tell them today, though. No, I'm kidding. We're going to do our little review. We'll start off with that. Hey, get into the weekend's games. As we mentioned, we're all not that happy today, but there's a lot of people that will be very happy. So
yeah, that's it. A couple of upsets all around, but let's go game by game.
Yes.
So Thursday night footy, it was a cracker. I went to Golden Point, Broncos versus Titans, and Titans ended up taking the win 17-16. What are your girls' thoughts on that one?
did you get to catch that one?
I caught a little bit of it, actually. So we had our training during that night. So we caught the last bit of it. And just watching it, I actually thought that Broncos were going to win it because I thought that they just had heaps of opportunities. They were pretty much sat down in their 10 for that second part of overtime. So I thought that it was a done deal.
Same as you, unreal game, cracker. I wrote down a couple of notes on a couple of key players for me. I thought that Shantae, who we've mentioned a couple of times on the potty so far, I thought she was really good. She's young. Yeah. Literally just finished high school last year. To be wearing that. I think she was in the 6. Was she?
She was,
in the 6. She was playing 7 before, but she's wearing the 6 now. Some really good fifth tackle options, building some pressure, repeat sets for her team, and I thought she was outstanding. Then the other one that I wrote down was the number 18, Riley Jorgensen, making her debut off the bench.
So good.
She came on, she made a really good tackle on one of the backs from Bronx. I forgot who it was, but it was just that... it was the impact that they really needed, and she brought really good energy off the bench. So I thought she was outstanding.
I agree. She was really good. And for such a young player, she just stamped her name on the NRLW. It was so good to see. I thought Varney was at, her best as usual. She had some really good run meters. She got a try, 141 run meters, I think. So that's pretty standard for her. I think that she just knows how to get busy, find the try line. She scored a really good one, good feet, and just stepped, I think it was their back row on that side. I can't remember actually, but just great feet, great speed. And then on the flip side, I thought same as you, Neats, Broncos came out really strong. I thought they could have easily taken it away, but really good from the Titans to stick in there. But I thought Gail was good for the Bronx. She had a few line breaks, a few tackle breaks, she got a cool try, a really good try, just palming people off left, right and centre, and a bit of a fun celebration, a bit of Michael Jackson Thriller too, which was fun to see.
Yeah, good fun.
Yeah.
Love
Any
that.
highlights for you, Neats?
I think they've got a lot of big game players in both teams. For me, Varney's been outstanding these last 2 weeks. I think she's, maybe it's the extended preseason and the time that she's had at the Titans, being able to gel. I just think she's just come in, she looks fit, she looks fast. We already know how much of an X factor she is. So for me, she was probably just her consistency and to carry the team, get them out of trouble. I was really impressed with her, but I was also impressed with Niall Williams. We know that we haven't seen much of her in terms of that standout breakaway
attack
games just yet. But I just thought that flick pass just summed up that X factor. I don't know,
good
it
is
just
that?
runs in the family, just one-on-one. Was against Millie Hufunga as well, so I'm sure they would have been having a good battle out there on the edge. So for her just to come and do that little flick pass, and then I think it was Emily Bass on the receiving end of that. So those two were really awesome. But like you say, someone like Gail Broaden, she's just an outright footballer. Hey, she's just got some X factor. Her footwork, her kick selection. I think last year her moving into 5'8", you really start to understand like the power of her kicking game. Like I think she's got such a great kicking game. Like she's able to get them out of trouble, and her kick selection seems to be pretty on as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you guys as well.
Yeah, the Bronx won't be happy with 2 back-to-back losses to open up their season, so I'm sure we'll see some different results coming their way.
Yeah, very unlike them. And also, just touching on Gail, I saw she put up a post about, obviously they're getting a little bit of hate around, you know, having some losses, but she put up a post just saying, like, I'm more than a football player, and just, like, remember that we're people and before football players. So it was nice to see. She's a very good spokesperson for well-being and stuff like that, so it's good to see her be really open with that and just calling out the haters. So love that from Gail. Let's move on. Oh,
Game 2.
Someone else talk about this one.
Okay, I'll lead us here. So game 2 was Canberra versus the Roosters.
Yes.
I know you're hurting, but what a game. That was such a good game. You watched. I know we were sending messages after, having a little bit of a giggle. It came back.
Rude.
And you bit us in the arse later.
We just finished our captain's run, and everybody was like straight on their phones and we're looking at it. At that time, it was only 4-0. So like it seemed like it was a real arm wrestle, but Canberra looked really composed. Like a lot of areas once they played last week and come into this week, I thought that they were just a completely different team.
Yeah.
I really like the combination of Z and Ash Quinlan linking up. Like that for me, that's just strike right there. Like they just seem to be able to control the game so nicely, and just linking up as a halves pairing in general. It's not too often that you see that in the women's game just yet. So for me, that was where they kind of were able to expose, I guess, the Chookies in that aspect. And they just had a really simple game plan, like carried hard. Their defence, like I think anybody who knows Darren Borthwick, Bortho, like knows that he's just a very defensive orientated coach. So he would have had like a lot of time spent in pre-season like perfecting that, considering they've got so much cross-coders. So you definitely saw that on the weekend. And then just from the second half in particular, I just thought maybe the Chookies just tried to go too wide too early, like going through shape and going through hands, like wasn't really engaging, probably lacked a little bit of a punch. Like someone like Amber Paris-Hall, like she's such an intimidating force. Like you just automatically have 2 or 3 players that just are drawn to her. So just probably missed that punch, I guess.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was still a really good quality game. Like you've got X Factor all over the park, Corbs. So you've got someone like Tara Nakin who just like kick and trap, like trap the ball, run freaking 90 metres just to score like a crazy try. And it's not like she wasn't running away from anybody. She had wingers and fullbacks like chasing her down, but you know she had the toe to go all the way. So I still think probably better to have it at this time of the year, don't you reckon, Corbs?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we can all like understand that. Like you don't win in the second round, but it still hurts. I agree. I feel like Canberra looked really good. They probably played some of their best footy, and it's a bit scary if they can get better than that, because I thought they were solid. With Z and Ash, like we did some review on them from their game against you guys, and like although the first game they were a bit clunky against you girls, we definitely went into the game thinking this team, although they didn't start strong, can definitely beat teams. And we went in there knowing that they can throw the ball around. Like Z and Ash have some of the best right to left passing in the game, the way they can spread the ball and get to the edges and really have that strike down that left edge. It killed us. And also Z. I'm really happy for Z, because I know she's been with the Chooks from, day one, and then having to move to Canberra was a big deal for her. Stayed in contact with her, and she was hurt, like really hurt, but excited with the new journey ahead. But she had such a good game. She was putting up a few killer bombs for me. But yeah, it was a really awesome atmosphere. They ran out the Viking clap. It was a pretty cool experience, and for their first home game for them to get the win, although it's hurting. Really happy for those girls.
Yeah, such a good game. I personally loved watching it, and I in agreement with both of you girls on Z just having an outstanding performance. I know that Phil Gould made a comment on the commentary that her kicking game was some of the best that he's seen within the women's game. So it's good to see that that's, being noticed and being spoken about. So I know you guys will be ready to go this weekend. Look out whoever you're coming up against, because
for sure.
You
would not want to be on the opposite end of the paddock when you guys take the field this weekend.
Literally. So the next game, we'll move on. Hey, we won't speak about that one for too much longer.
Appreciate you guys.
Dragons versus Eels.
Yes.
So Dragons end up getting a really big win on that game, 38-12. Did you see much of it or?
I did. So we, again, so after captain's run, we travelled down on the bus. So all the girls are just glued to their phones, like kind of just killing time and whatnot. And that just so happened to be on. And Racine McGregor, like she was in Dally M winner last year for no reason. She absolutely had an outstanding game. Like even when we played her the week before, I thought she was still able to just like stamp her name on the game. And just this, like yesterday, her kick selections, like I'm not too sure if you've seen the highlights, but those were on a platter. Like any winger,
Literally,
you'd be loving to be on your edge because those balls, whether it's a pass or a kick,
on a dime.
So yeah, I was really impressed with her. I've been really impressed with Tegan Berry at the back as well.
Yeah.
So for me, seeing her into that transition role, like I've not seen much of her play fullback, and to see her at this level to still be able to add the X factor, like in particular with her speed, like that's something that's uncoachable. Like you guys know, like someone who's got outright speed, they're just such a threat everywhere. But I just think some of her ball playing ability and her carries out of yardage were really good. And I also know that Para were missing quite a few of their big star names, like Rachel Pearson and Elsie Albert. Like having those two, they're two of their leaders of their club. I know Kennedy's out there trying her best, like taking everything on the chin, and she's playing 70-minute games. Like she's putting out some massive minutes. But I just think like they just lack that experience to kind of tie everything in. Yeah. And also Cassie Tohu Hiku, like I love her. Like I played with her 2 seasons now at Bears. I'm pushing for her to go out the back because I just think she's unreal. She's safe. She's got X factor. Her pass selection is normally like on, and she seems to be doing a lot of the exit kicking as well. So she's just an all-around threat for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I ran into Zali Faye this morning, and she made a similar comment, just saying they're lacking some. Like their middles to kind of step up in the absence of Elsie. So she's saying that like her backs, they feel like they're having to do a lot of the work and they need their middles to kind of step up and really fill that gap that Elsie's usually there leading them forward. So I agree with you. Like Kennedy's doing unreal to play the whole game in the middle. You know, because you play in the middle, like it's a tough ask, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Like I don't think anybody really understands the intensity that it is. Like as a middle, like normally you can blast out, do your job and get a spell. Whereas if you're playing that full 70 minutes, especially for Kennedy, you know, she's probably typically being the lock in particular, like she'll be that third carry every single time. So everybody knows like by then your defensive line is set. Unless like your outside back's made half a break and they've got a quick play with the ball, you normally got to do like, you know, those shit carries where you've got to carry into that brick wall. So I know that she would have done plenty of those, and she still manages, you know, to find her front, especially for a smaller player. Like I think she's not underrated, but she definitely does a lot of hard work, and I know that she'll be missing Elsie out there to help share that load.
Yeah, definitely. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I agree. And with a bit of a reshuffle with Parramatta, like we saw, Shani had to play in the back row, Talisha moved into the middle. So, you know, they're without Elsie, especially in the middle, and Rachel Pearson out there sort of steering the ship. It's a really tough ask, and they've got a lot of new girls. I think they've just got to hang in there as best as they can, and just keep grinding, because you never know what can happen. I know last season they were struggling to win a game and they ended up making the grand final. So like anything can happen. So just keep in there, girls.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yes.
So the next game, Sunday we had your game, Knights v Cowboys. The score ended up being 31-20 to the Cowboys. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was probably it's very disappointing. Like Corb said, like it's real disappointing, in particular for us. Like when we started so strong, like we lost our way there for a little bit. We managed to come back later in the game, but then again we just kind of switched off. We spoke about it earlier, just before we actually got on here, about the error rate. So like we made errors and then we gave away penalties, and in the female space, like an error penalty typically leads to a try, and that's exactly what happened. Like we kept inviting them down into our area, and I thought Kira's kicking game was really good. Like she was able to get herself out of the trouble when I felt that we were applying a lot of pressure. And then it was just a smoking hot day. Like I just think the fatigue for us and our middles in particular, like it pretty much we started losing rucks. They started generating some momentum, and then they were just such an excited team. Like they've got such a youthful team across the board. It's their first year part of the competition, you know, so they never go away. And we knew that they'd be an excited team. We knew that they were here to make a point. There's a lot of ex-Knights players that are part of the system now as well. So I'm sure that they would have had that little grudge on their shoulder as well to come out and play really well. So yeah, props to them for like playing the full 70 minutes. I think we kind of switched off there, and Cole spoke about it, but there was a bit of a momentum shift after a couple of our tries, and yeah, we just let that one get away from us.
You mentioned the heat because we played straight after you, and I know exactly what you're talking about, but the Cowboys probably were conditioned to it, right? It's 27 degrees up there. We had like a 22, 23 degree day yesterday, and we were a bit rattled by it because we haven't had like warm weather in the longest time.
100%. I think in the last 2 weeks has been like, it might be like low 20s, but it feels like in the sun like it's 30 degrees. Like even captain's run for me, I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm not typically one that's like around the water bottles, but I'm like trying to search for the Powerade just to get it in, get the hydrolyte in, or the electrolyte, sorry. Yeah. But it was it was tough conditions, but there was opportunities, and like we said, like that you can't really blame the heat, even though they would have been more accustomed to it. I definitely think that we just didn't maximise our opportunities, and like inviting a team like that's got a lot of flair and amongst the players, you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, you mentioned Kira, and I thought she had an outstanding game. Another one that I'd written down was the number 19. She was on the wing, Vitalina Naikore. She got a double there. And I saw some really nice footwork on the sideline from her. So she's former Fijian drill, was it?
Yeah, Fiji drill girl.
Yeah, so cool. Really nice to see her making her mark on the game.
Yeah, she got 5 tackle breaks and 2 line breaks too. So she had a big game. Good to see her running a mark in the NRLW now. Big moment that I thought was pretty cool was seeing Shanice Parker score her first NRLW try too.
Yes. I had no idea.
Neither. I remember listening to the commentary and they're like, her first try, and I was like, what? She's just such a classy player. You would expect her to have already scored one. I think she scored it in like All-Stars and other games, but first NRLW try, so congrats to Skaki there.
It's a bit funny because last year she literally passed me a ball like over the line. Like she literally could have put it down, but she gave it to me. I put it down instead. I was like, why did you do that? Apparently Kai, her partner, was like telling her off, saying like, why didn't you just score the try? And I feel like had I known that she had never scored one, I would have been like,
give it back to her.
You put it down. Like she's such a selfless player. So really nice to see her.
And there were some people from our last episode asking who Skaki is. So that's Shanice Parker.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Her nickname's Skaki.
We're very bad. Yes, we got that.
Still are.
We got that feedback that we use nicknames too often.
Yeah, so we're trying to be better.
Trying to be better.
Because our pronunciation of names is not great, probably.
Not good at all. You guys have... Who have you got next?
We've got Eels next week in Parramatta, so they'll be up for a big one. I'm sure that we'll see Elsie and Rachel just slide back and
magically be back.
100%, I reckon, like a big home game. I know that they're suffering from, they say, calf strains.
Yeah.
Or I'm pretty sure that's what like it's been reported as. So they can't be too far away. Like you don't tend to sit too many games out just from a calf strain. So
we're just being safe and saving for
you guys. Yeah. Our last game of the round. My game.
Upset number 3. Or was an upset. So it's funny. We've been saying this is an upset. Why? I think because you guys beat them comfortably in the trial match. Yep. But when you look at Tigers on paper, they're a very, very strong side. So
top of the table Tigers.
Yeah, top of the table Tigers. And,
wow. So it wasn't an upset. It was they were the favourites, we were the underdogs, and they got the win.
Don't know about that. But they were very, very good. I thought I think as a team they look the most cohesive, and they had the last 2 games. I think the first half of round 1 they were a little bit off, and then they sort of found their groove in the second half, and that flowed into this game. But I thought a standout for me was Jakaya Whitfield. Yeah. She is bloody fast. Scored a full field try, made heaps of meters. I think she beat a record most run meters in one game.
She's beaten Barney now.
Yeah, which is huge. Yeah. It was tough. I think that they just came out. They're the same. They've got some young girls that are just really excited to be there, and then they've got a good balance with leadership. Kezi had a massive game yesterday. I thought she led the team really well. Sulla's on. Like when Sulla's on, like that's a hard middle to beat. And I thought that they were just very, very strong across the park. And it's tough for you guys to sort of get in the game again. with all three of us, a game where we all had just little errors that were sort of not like us, but just rattled us, and it was really tough to get into the game.
Yeah, it felt like that. And as you mentioned before, it's like when you make an error in good ball and then give a penalty away or double penalty, and then next minute you're on your try line trying to defend, and then it doesn't always happen. They scored. So they were really strong out there. It was a real tough battle, I feel like. But yeah, they just outplayed us. We didn't make the most of our opportunities. I feel like it was very similar to what you were saying about your game.
Yeah.
I feel like we both probably didn't play our best footy.
Yeah.
No, definitely didn't play our best footy. I know that we can play a lot better than what we dished out yesterday, but we'll live and we learn.
That's it.
Yeah.
And having Jada out, sorry, Nate, having Jada not be able to play because of her ankle injury in training.
Yeah.
I thought I want to give a big shout out to Andy.
Yeah.
She was awesome out the back. I wasn't sure what they were going to do. I thought maybe they'd put her to a centres and push Tiana back there.
Yeah.
But she held her own, had some really good returns. I thought she was great. And Naitoka Toka, how about her strips?
Said it was so
Oh
good.
my gosh. And they were just like perfect, like whack, strip, so rude.
I feel like we really needed that. Like
That
what
spark.
she brought was so good because we were just lacking. I feel like in attack we just weren't throwing anything at the Tigers. So her bringing that energy and effort and just stealing the ball those couple of times really helped us. But unfortunately, we couldn't all
That's okay.
get around her. But yeah, she was great. I also thought Anessa, you mentioned Andy, she was outstanding. Anessa was also massive for us. I think she carried over like 200 metres as well. So
Great player.
Yeah.
Really good
Yeah.
signing from you girls.
yeah, she's been
100%.
great.
She's just come out of nowhere. Like, she's a product of New Zealand, and like she's just literally come into the NRLW, and she's just like where has she been? Because she seems like a really experienced player because she's really cool-headed. Like, you know, a lot of people tend to be taken away by the moment, like especially on the big stages like this. But I just found like she's just been really safe. Like, she does her job really well, but she's so strong. Her carries to get you guys out of trouble. Particularly in that second half, I think for like 15 minutes straight, it was just like set for set for set for set. Like, it was such an arm wrestle, and like such good kicking games. Like Taylor Preston for you guys, and then they had Pauline Pilau and Emily Curtin, who were just banging it down into the corners, and those are like the worst carries you have to do because, you know, you start on the back, you have to try and get around. So I was really impressed with her as well. I think I also was impressed with got to give a shout out to Bo again.
Yeah,
100%. She was just so safe. Like, for someone who's been away from the game for I think it's been 14 months, longer than 14 months.
Yeah.
Like, just to slot back in as a fullback. I know there was plenty cramps out there on both teams, so there'll be a little bit of hydration testing coming into it.
I wanted to ask you about that because I was having a laugh because it was about 3 in a row for the Sharks. I think it was who was first? I think it was Andy, and then Ness, and then someone else, maybe Hanata or someone.
There was like 3 down at one stage, wasn't there? I was
guzzling
like,
some pickle juice.
guys, you're being dramatic.
I know you're a pickle juice gal. Does it work?
So I still take it, but I'm just like, I reckon I suffered 5 years badly of like calf cramps in the first part of it, and I always thought it was like the conditioning, like, you know, obviously being at a bit more fatigue in a game like scenario, but I've just found it's been hydration for me. Like, I start hydrolyting two days before, and when I say I start hydrolyting, I mean like those 2 little capsules like in every single bottle of like whatever I'm drinking.
True.
I just drink Hydrolyte, and it's like done the trick so far. And in particular when I went up to Queensland, because I thought like up there when I was with the Broncos, like the fields were so much harder. Like, honestly, everybody up in Queensland like gets calf injuries or ankle injuries because the surface is just so hard. Right. So I was like, and then doing the same things, like making sure I'm hydrated, like it just seemed to work for me. So highly suggest.
Us old gals need to make sure we're
100%.
we're as prepped as possible.
I'll put it in my team chat. I'll let the girls know.
Pass it on. How funny. But 10-0. A bit of a tough one for Sharks this weekend. No points. Boys and girls.
I know. We're struggling, but
that's okay.
We're going to turn it around.
Are we going to have a look at next week?
Yeah, we'll quickly go over the next week's games.
Let's do it.
Thursday night. You guys have the Thursday night game. So you guys against Dragons?
Yes.
That'll be a good one.
I'm happy with that. I feel like coming back from a loss, you just want to get your next game in. You don't want to be sad for too long. So I'm actually not mad about a cheeky Thursday night game.
Where are you guys playing at?
We're playing at SCG, so it's our home game.
Nice.
We don't get many Allianz, I think, because of the Women's World Cup. But SCG Thursday night should be good.
Have you guys actually been watching any of the Women's World Cup?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I loved seeing... I mean, it wasn't... Sorry, I didn't love it because Matilda's lost. But how good was Nigeria?
So cool.
I was really, happy for them. But they're actually very good. They drew with Canada, who I think are, the reigning champs.
Right.
So, and now Matildas have to play Canada
They
next.
have to
Must
win.
win.
Yeah, they've got some
Yes.
strike weapons coming back. They've got that Mary
Fowler.
Fowler and then Sam Kerr.
Yes.
That they've keyed her in to be making a comeback.
Yeah.
They need
100%. 100%. But no, it's been really cool to have that playing alongside like all these female competitions at the moment. Like, it's just so
It's been
exciting.
Netball World Cup's on as
Yes.
well.
Yep. In South Africa.
There's so much going on for the girls.
Love that. Go the girls.
On South Africa, actually, my TikTok is flooded with the South African girls singing their entrance as they walk in.
Yeah.
How cool is it?
Oh, the soccer?
Yes.
Yes, I
I-
know, right?
And their voices are like so bloody beautiful.
Sorry, the one where they're in their change room.
Change room.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in their suits
It-
and they're singing this beautiful
So
South African
beautiful.
song.
It's like watching The Lion King.
It is. It's so cool. And it made me think like, we don't do that. Like,
No.
I wish we did. I wish we kind of were on
Had
their
something
level
like
of
that.
vibes.
Yes.
So
We
sick.
don't have the voices.
No.
I mean, I feel like maybe not an NRLW, but definitely when you get to that Kiwi space, like
Yeah.
there's always lots of games and always lots of like songs.
Singing, yeah.
Yeah, like they really embrace like the multicultural, but not just that, like Pacific culture in general.
Yeah.
They always have like, I'm not too sure if you've been in camp with my tour Te Tirika, but she is just a blast and a half.
Yeah.
She's always got the games and like, I think it's like that. Patia, Rua Pati. Have you
Yeah,
ever
the
done that?
Samoan.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
always just like G everybody up. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. Gets everybody like engaged.
Yeah.
So like seeing some of that South African stuff was like, oh, like, you know, brought back some really fond memories of
Yeah.
being in Kiwis camp as well.
I feel like we need to take, like, do what they do. It's like every time you make your entrance to a stadium or to a game, it's like you need to sing that song to make your presence really be felt and
Yes.
let everyone know you're there. I don't know. I love that
It's like the
anyway.
equivalent of doing a haka, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like your little
yeah.
war cry.
Yeah.
A bit cool.
Team song. Love
Sorry, a
it.
bit off topic, guys. Back to the next game. Saturday, Cowboys versus Bronx is the first game.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Is that at Queensland Country Bank Stadium as well?
I think it will be. Yeah, Cowboys home game.
That'll be their first home game. And I just feel like after round 2, it's almost like anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like seeing some of the new teams where, you know, after round 1 you're not really sure. They have cemented in everyone's minds they are up for a win no matter what. So I feel
Literally.
like, yeah, another big game there.
It's going to be
Yeah.
a good one.
You've got like the Broncos, they're coming off 2 losses, and knowing that they've got some star caliber, like you've got Ali Brigginshaw,
Yeah.
Doozy, Chelsea Leonard Doozy in there, Gail Broaden.
Yeah, they've
Like,
lost 2. They're not going to
Yeah.
be wanting to lose another.
No, for sure. And like in particular for like Princey, I know that they respect him. That's their coach. Like they have a lot of respect for him. So to go out there and do him proud as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to get up. Like I'm sure that Townsville will like have a really good crowd for them too. So
yeah.
it's going to be like one big ask. But if anybody can do it, they can definitely do it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Have you guys played over there before?
Not yet, but we're up there twice this season.
Wow, that's big.
Yes.
We played.
We played Maldives there once. Hey,
yeah.
it's a good stadium.
It's a great
Very
stadium.
cool. Yeah, big one. Excited for that. And then after that is the Sharks v Titans.
Yes.
Ooh,
Go
that's a
us.
big
Going to be a
one.
tough one again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Titans second on the table. They've also won both their games.
Yep.
I think you guys are going to be coming back though, strong, ready for it. So
Yep.
I'm really keen to see that one too.
It's going to be good.
Is Billy going to be back? Is there chat around that?
I haven't heard.
I haven't either, but I
Yeah.
know that's like an ankle injury. So who
Yeah.
knows with those? Sometimes you can strap it and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Depending how she can get through the week. But
Yeah.
yeah, she'll be a bit of a bogey as well. But I think they've been handling it quite well
They've been
without
pretty
her
good
as well.
still. Yeah.
Like you said, spoke about Shantae and how she's been able to step up and really lead the team around.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether or not she is or isn't there, I think they're just starting to gather some momentum. Like they've got a great forward pack. They've got a lot of experience there. Like they've got lots of young players, like really young players, but then they've got like really good experience, in particular with their pack. Like
Yeah.
Loz Brown for me has been playing outstanding. Like
Yeah.
she's been playing some really big minutes, but she's just been really awesome. Like I think people forget how important like a kicking game from dummy half can be, and
Yeah.
she just got like every time that she's in that position, and she just tends to just get them out of trouble.
She's
So,
got one of the best kicking games, I reckon, for a 9. I feel like she's very good. And then winning that Golden Point. on
Yes, her
Thursday
drop
night
kick was
her.
on
We
point,
forgot
wasn't
to
it?
mention that. So, yeah.
Yes.
Huge from her. That'll be a good one. Then hopefully you guys get Jada back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are healthy, it'll be a good battle.
It's going to be a good one.
Mm.
Yeah. Sunday's games. You guys are first up. Eels versus Knights.
Yes.
You touched on it before, but how are you feeling about that one?
I think we're all going to go back home. Like I'm sure all the girls would have went home and had a really good look at themselves.
Yeah.
Because like I honestly feel like that's a game that we lost. Like, I don't think they won that game. I think we just kind of switched off, and like a lot of our principles as a club and as a team that we've committed to, like we weren't able to execute that. So I think everybody will go away and take a really good look at themselves, start prepping now. I think our preparation maybe in terms of our warm-up, it wasn't the best. Can't say like that's a full reason why we didn't come out and win that game, but there's a lot of different areas. Like I think for us in particular, it's probably our combinations. I'm still struggling with my combinations with our halfbacks, and it's been the first time. So I think the more that we can get to play with each other, and the more we can start to settle down and understand everybody and like the style that they play, like the better we'll get, because we've got some absolute superstars. Like Tamika Upton, like sometimes you can just give her the ball and she can just win you the game on their own.
Yeah,
so
literally.
I think probably getting the ball in her hands a little bit more this week will be a bit of our focus, because I just think every time that she's got the ball in hands, things tend to happen around her.
Yeah. Like we've said, it's so good now that the competition isn't just like 3 games.
Yeah.
So like if we've lost this round, but it's like we've still got plenty of time.
You can regroup and keep building.
Yeah.
And
Looking
the last
forward to that
game,
one.
Raiders versus Tigers.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is going to be a great game too. They're all going to be so good this week. I think Tigers are going to go into it with a lot of confidence. So will Raiders, actually. They're both coming off some really solid wins. It's going to be the battle of the middles here, I reckon. I feel like we know who the Tigers have, but like coming off playing them last week, I thought obviously Mima's a huge player for them, but Grace Kemp, she was huge for them in the middle too, scored a try, had some really great carries and did a lot of work too. And then on the edges, I can't discredit them either. I feel like Tigers have a lot of punch. We've spoken about them. And defensively, Raiders were a little bit off with you guys, but made some really great scramble defence decisions against us.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do the same against Tigers. I think it's going to be
A
a
banger.
very exciting game too.
Yes.
Bring on round 3.
Round
Yes.
3, bring it on. So good.
Can't pick anybody now. Like you pick somebody
Seriously.
and then
It could go
pick
either
yourself.
way.
That's all you want to do. You pick yourself and everybody's like, go for gold. Have a great game.
That's it. Back
Literally.
to silver always.
All right. Hey, well, on another, well, it's still footy, but talk to us through the RLPA situation, because you are Miss RLPA.
Yeah,
If
so
anyone
I
didn't
obviously
know.
work for the RLPA. And yeah, it's honestly been like such a roller coaster. For me as a player, this is probably my first time working in such a role. Just seeing the ins and outs of like trying to get this sorted. So for anybody who doesn't know, like there's obviously the collective bargaining agreement that still has yet to be agreed upon. So we're going through those negotiations. Well, we've actually haven't been going through those negotiations because we can't get to the table with them. The biggest thing for us at the moment, like if you want to put it in a woman's perspective, is that earlier in the year, around February, we were able to agree to a term sheet. The term sheet doesn't cover everything. So basically with the term sheet, you're able to sign contracts. That's literally what you're able to do. It gives you a salary cap, a length of season, and also a length of competition. So you're looking at like you're locked in for the next 5 years. So that's pretty much all that it's covered. Recently, the NRL have actually sent through player contracting rules. So anybody who signed a NRL contract or NRLW contract, you know that they're like 80 pages long. So in those, they've got a lot of the rules. Besides that, with the CBA, that's what we call a long form. So that's part of the rules, but not all of them. They're all typically covered in the CBA. So what they've done is, because we've only got a term sheet, they've put through all these rules in terms of like trying to bypass the CBA. Mm-hmm. So bypass like players' protections, your terms and the conditions, and because they can put it into your player contracting rule because they're not obliged by anything like a CBA, they're able just to implement it anyway. There's no consultation process at all. So it's things that have been put in. There's a rule that they've put in is that the NRL CEO can agree to put a marquee player outside of the salary cap if they bring in, if they're deemed to bring in outside revenue. So if you're if that player's marketable and you can sell them and they're like really important to the game, someone like you, Jess Surges, he could particularly say, like, say you've got your salary cap and everybody's working to the salary cap. You have someone like that and be like, oh, you know what? She deserves more and she brings so much to the game. We're going to give her a pass. So her whole salary, whatever it could be, could sit outside the salary cap. That's one of the rules that they've put into it. Could you imagine the uproar that would cause so much teams?
Yeah.
Like being able to have players that just sit outside your salary cap. Like with our salary cap now, like obviously there's a lot of ins and outs of it, but realistically, I think there was maybe $120,000 above like your minimum wage that you could share around outside of your marquee player. So there's not much money to be shared around to top up all these contracts and stuff. So we know a lot of players have taken cuts to be at the teams that they want to be, or like just to be a part of like a system that they feel valued. So that's just one area in terms of like when you look at these player contracting rules and how it's not covered in the CBA because we don't actually have one. Another area is like on the RLPA websites and on our social media, there's a tile about all the areas that are still outstanding. So that's player property use, so that's your IP image and having control over that, and how the NRL can potentially sell that off and market it to you and you get no money back from it. We use, at the moment, that sits within like any group marketing that sits within, they're able to do that, but you get royalties from it. Another area that like you've been looking at, you've got your injury hardship funds that they don't have access to at the moment. So like I know that everybody sees Clint Newton and like he's rambling on and they say, oh, he's just rambling on, he's too passionate, his ego's getting in the way. But realistically, like when you go to the players and you go to the clubs and you see these conversation that he has, like recently we wrapped up our club visits where each year we go around to all the clubs, all 27, we managed to get around like mid-season for the men and pre-season for the girls. And the passion that he has for the game, it just correlates. Like he's so passionate about the game that he's able to represent the players in a manner where he takes all the blame. Yeah. So even though it's for the collective and the players, they love it. They love seeing how passionate he is. Every time, like, they're cheering, they're laughing at him because he's in there. He's such a passionate person. So for him to have them at the head of the negotiations, that's what they want. That's what all players want. I'm sure you've been in the room with him, Corbs. You've been to like the Jack a few times, and you know him on a personal level. Like, what's your opinion of like?
Yeah, so much respect for Nita. I feel like you've seen so much of him in the media, and he is absolutely copying it. And just the fact that he keeps showing up, and he's an ex-player. He's like, it's not like it's anyone Joe Blow going in and talking about nothing. Like, he knows what the players want. He's got a good relationship with a lot of the players, and I have so much respect for what he's doing, and I feel like he's there. He's ready to have those hard conversations. He's fronting up on the telly and in podcast, and he's waiting for the NRL to come to the table and to work it out. So I feel like we've got such a great leader and such a great person in Clint to be able to represent us, and the fact that you're doing some amazing work with the RLPA as well, Neats, is it's a lot, because I know we sort of watch from the outside and we get drip fed different information because it's a lot for us to retain and understand, but I know that there's so much that goes into it, and just touching on that first point you made, so I didn't even know that about, say you've got someone who's a high marquee player and they sit outside. One of the rules that they've put in. That's just such a business-minded thing. Like, you obviously don't understand how a football roster works, because if you're doing that and you're stacking teams and putting them outside the cap, like, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, you'd never get away with that in any other industry, because like obviously you have these things that you're protected. Like, we're the only code in the whole of Australia in the professional women's space that doesn't have a CBA. And the easiest, like, how we get to a CBA is we get an industrial relations mediator. So we get an expert who works in these spaces, who deals with this, who has, he's got no ties to either stakeholder, so they can take it forward, because when you look at the areas that are outstanding, none of them have anything to do with monetary value. So none of it's got anything to do with money. A big area as well that I've spoken to Keanu as well, and I like to use you as a sounding board. Like, I think that's probably the best part about my role and still being able to play football, is that I've got friends in the industry and we live it day to day and we go through all these struggles together. But I also like to make sure that I have a sounding board of like actual lived experiences, and that's why I touch base with you guys. Like, in particular, there's you would have seen it in the media about the international space and how the RLPA is racist because we don't want to fund the whole program. And the whole argument there, it's just so irrelevant, because what it is that we want the international space. We were the ones who actually brought up this point where we want to make sure that if there's any test matches, that players get paid an equal amount across the board, men or women, because like it's the same commitment. You've got players now that are surging in the Pacifica space who wanting to go back and play for your countries, your teams like your Samoas, your Tongas, your PNGs and your Fijis. And obviously a lot of those players, they sit within the NRL, so they also are a part of this brand. We agree that there does need to be a minimum for players across the board that needs to be paid to them. But it shouldn't come out of the NRL players' money. Not everybody that plays in the NRL is going to be able to represent their country. It's a privilege to be able to get to that point, but our idea is that, okay, there's this product, they're going to sell it off. Why don't we utilise the money that the product generates and pay these players what they're worth? So what you do in terms of like in that space is that when you start aligning these test matches, like your administrators, so your NRL or whoever, they'll go ahead and they'll sell these games off to the broadcasters, right? So they'll sell these games to the broadcasters. You get a forecast of how much money that the game's predicted to make. So if the money makes a predicted X amount of money, then you share it equally amongst the players, and you'll probably end up with the amount that you'll get per player. What we don't want to do is we don't want to take out of the player's share of money. So at the moment, we work in a revenue share. The game itself generates X amount of money. A portion of that's been assigned to the players, so like that's their portion of money. What we don't want that to do, because really there's no comeback, so there's no to and fro. So yes, if the players were to pay for the payments of these international games, and the game does well, they should be able to share in the revenue. That's not the case. They want
NRL wants, yeah.
So they want the players to pay for themselves to play in these test matches, but then they want to reap all the benefits. If the game operates at a loss, well then you have to have that next conversation about, okay, if the game operates as a loss, like how can you improve it? Where do you go? Who do you sell it off to? What can you do to get more bums and seats and more eyes on the tallies? So that's a separate conversation, but it shouldn't be a part of this argument, because like all this money's already been dedicated to particular areas. Like you keep taking from an area that the actual game's not going to be giving back to the player share. The game's going to make revenue, yes, but not the players. They don't get to, even though they're the ones that are having to take more time. So everybody knows, like any test match, you have to spend at least a week in camp, or a couple of days at the bare minimum. But there's just so much more commitment to just playing a test match and just being grateful because you're already an NRL player.
Yeah, it's an interesting chat, and I'm glad that we have you here to kind of clarify, because Cobbs and I are hopeless, as we said. Don't know too much, but yeah, you guys are doing amazing things for us, and as players we need to be more grateful and appreciative of your work. But
and it's just
but
such
I
a
think
game.
that's probably like the big part about, sorry to interrupt you, Cobbs, but that's probably a big part of what I've learned about this role is like everybody else has things outside, like for us as female players, but for men who do this full time, like they should be trying to get the best product. They're working so hard to make the best product. Why should they know about the ins and outs of what's going on? They have a trusted body. They fed information from the leaders. It's not like we're keeping anything. Everything for us has been transparent, and that's been the opposite for the NRL. It's not been transparent. So if you were to audit us, we could happily be able to put everything out on the table and show players who would want to. But like you guys have your own role. You guys, like not just you guys, well us or players have their role to play. Like they need to put forward the best product possible to create the best game and create the best earning opportunities for everybody. So why do they need to worry themselves about this stuff? They have people that they trust, like you said, Corbs. Like they trust Nito to lead us the way. We've got an awesome team, and we get around to all the clubs, and we utilise the players to actually come up with the direction in which we're going forward. So
you're not making it up.
No. So like to say, like you don't know the whole depth of it, but you don't need to know.
No.
Yeah.
Why do you
the
need to
main
know?
things. Yeah. And it's just a shame that it's come to this. Like, come to the table, let's talk about it, because the fact that, you know, the game as a whole is suffering, but especially when we're just kicking off NRLW and you can't hear from the play, like obviously it's actions that need to be taken because we want to make a stand, but it's hurting, I reckon, our competition, because we can't have interviews with the girls, and the fact that you're hearing some of the next steps that are going to be taken, it's just the fact that we could put the competition at a strike and stuff like that. Like, we don't want it to get to that, but we know it's important. If that stuff needs to be taking place, then we've got to do what we've got to do, right?
So we saw the logo covered in this
Yes.
weekend's games. Is there more action likely to come if nothing happens from the NRL?
Yeah, I think there definitely is going to be more action to come. And this is not just coming from me working for the RLPA. This is talking to players. Like, players want things done. Like, they're sick of it. It's been dragged out for 20 months now. So at the end of October, the men's CBA expires. So they could potentially be on the same path that the girls are at the moment. We currently don't have a CBA. They put in these things like PCR rules, player contracting rules, that could contradict, and they could bypass any negotiation process with your union body. So that's like a real threat at the moment. Like that's really the end game. Like, it needs to be done before then. And like a simple thing like placing tape over the badge, it's not necessarily to get back at any sponsors or anything. It's just a call of unity about the players, like wanting to move forward with these negotiations. Like, no longer do players want to like be able to, the uncertainty for a lot of things that are happening. Like, if you get to the end of October, who knows what the game could, who knows what could be happening within the game to players? You know, there's no terms and conditions that lock your employer into all of these things. And I've heard a funny thing about like, oh, user only employees, like blah blah blah. You know, you realise you're only employees. So I was like, hang on, it's different in this space because these employees are also the product. You can't sell anything without the product.
Yep.
So if you take all these 500 and 500 odd players, actually 700 players out of context, like, what are you going to be watching?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's just a frustrating process at the moment, something that's been necessary to try and help us go forward. But hopefully we can get some positive news back from it. Like, we put forward a response 10 days ago to Peter V'landys. We've yet to hear back from him, but hopefully after like the weekend show of unity within the players, that they understand the importance and how unified all players are to get this done.
Yeah. Lots going on, and we appreciate the insight. As we said, we're a bit not in the know, but you are very much in the thick of it. So we appreciate you, Clint Newton, Lena, all you guys at RLPA, fighting the good fight for us as players. So hopefully we can get that resolved really, really soon.
For sure.
Newey, let's talk about your experience at Newey so far. How's it been? Because obviously I was there last year. I loved it. Couldn't speak more highly of the club. How's your experience been?
I'm along the same line as you. Like, I absolutely love it up there. So I'm not relocated. I still live in Sydney, and then I travel up for the days that I do. But they've just been, from my perspective, and I've been at like, I think this is my 5th or 4th club. Bit of a club hopper there. Club hall. For me, they've done everything the best. I mean, their well-being, like the holistic approach to you as a player and you as a person before you as a player. For me, that's been really telling in terms of like how you're able to manage the load. Like, for me, having to drive up and whatnot, like I stay up there for one of the nights. They put me up in a hotel. But not just that, like the professionalism around the coaching staff, like the access to our physios and our doctors, the weekly massages that I know Kiana misses. But just the whole thing, like, I've really enjoyed the experience up there. It's been really great. Like, I just felt like you feel really valued at a club like that because they run a really good program. Like, you've got your mental coaching. So we have a psychologist that comes in once a week, or we have access to that does like takes us through the steps of like, you know, making sure we're in the right headspace and dealing with pressure and whatnot. And then you've got like access to such like awesome facilities. So our changing rooms, like we're a part of the actual building itself. So, you know, when you go into a situation where you're built into the foundations of the club, like it just makes you feel so much better. Like, you know that this club cares about you. You can see the effort. Like, the simple thing like having your changing room attached to the main building is like unreal. Like for the girls, for the recognition on how far the game's come. In particular for us, like we've been there from the start. Like, it feels like we've been battling so long to get here, and I know that everything across the board in terms of all the clubs, like the high performance areas, have just been improving drastically. So for me, I think just that approach that they have to like the holistic view about you as a person first and then players second. It kind of translates in how you can enjoy the time up there. So, yeah, loving Newey at the moment. Call me a Newey gal.
Oh, please. You wish. No, but I totally agree.
Never Castrian.
Oh, gosh. Get out of here. You're spot on, though. I remember thinking exactly the same thing. Like, you just feel like an actual professional. And as you mentioned, the staff was so good. I remember we had a meeting before our grand final last year, and each one of our staff members got up and spoke about like how or what it meant for them to be involved with the team. And I remember everyone was crying. Like, it just was really heartfelt, just how much it meant for them to be there. So yeah, you're in a really good place, and I'm glad you're enjoying it up there. Mm-hmm. But tell us, what does, say, like a typical training week look like for you guys?
So this week in particular, like, we get a couple of days off. Tomorrow is normally a massage day for us, so the next day is just a rest day. Tomorrow is a massage day. We'll go back-to-back sessions, so we'll train Wednesday, Thursday, and then a rest on Friday, and then captains run Saturday. We do a lot of things together because you've got a lot of relocated girls. I think we might have 8 or 9 relocated girls, but a lot of the girls are already from Newcastle in general, so like they really embody like being from the area and from the town. Like, one of the big slogans up there is like one town, one team. And you feel it as soon as you go into not only just the facilities, but you meet the girls and you understand their passion for their area and where they come from. And it's not too hard to get around it as well. Like, for me, I'm like, my family's going out buying all this Newcastle gear because I've just seen how much enjoyment it's given me. And even when you bring your partners, like I brought Jack to one of them, and he's like, oh, they really care about you, eh? Like, they met Ron, and he hit it off. He was like, oh, like, just being able to, like you said, just that caring factor. I think it just goes a long way. And all the girls, like, we've got so many larrikins in our team. Like, honestly, we've got Rima Butler, who's come up. She's just, honestly, she's it. Her and Vienna Tina'o, they are class act. They're like, oh, honestly, they're so funny. That's and then you've got someone who's like Jessie Southwell, who's just like the total opposite of Hannah. She's just a ball of energy on the go. She's inappropriate. Like,
you forget how young she is.
Yeah, you do.
She's a baby.
You do until she on the
Gets
field.
on the
you
field.
might.
Yeah.
But off the field,
yeah.
she literally acts like a 19-year-old kid.
Watching the Southwell sisters interview was a cracker. It went for like 15 minutes, but I couldn't take my eyes off it because it was actually really funny. And like, it was good because we all know Hannah, she sort of is a bit quieter. Like, that she's got some like good stuff in her, some funny stuff, but like you don't see it much. And you could just see how comfortable she felt with her sister in front of the camera, and she really opened up, and it was really nice to see.
Oh, if Hannah isn't rolling her eyes at Jessie like for half the training session, I don't know, because like, Jessie's just so off the cuff, so high energy, like just plenty to say, just so nice and youthful. Like, having someone that's like youthful like her just brings energy all the time. And then you've got Rima and that cracking jokes. Like, you got Yazzie, who's the mum of the whole club, who's always, she's, how loud Yazzie is. She's always like, blah, 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 blah.
I really miss Yazzie at the Roosters. I feel like she's just someone like really good to have around, loud, like brings the team together. But yeah, I can't relate with the Newcastle chat. It from an outsider perspective, it looks like they've really got their shit together, and it's very professional. And the stories that I've heard from you, Keeks, and you today, Nita, I love everything about the Roosters, but I think that one thing that we miss is being around each other a bit more. It's really hard because we've got so many girls in different areas. A lot of the girls are from the Central Coast, and we literally train together, and we might have the odd bonding night in pre-season here and there. So the fact that you guys spend so much time together, I think that's really really important to produce good footy on the field as well. So that's definitely something that I envy about your guys' club. And I think like your Cowboys are probably similar. There's a few other clubs as well that have that dynamic. But something that we miss at Roosters. All right. So to finish with our guests, we like to fire some questions at you. So got a couple for you here. You ready?
Yep.
Ready to rumble?
Fire away.
All right. Who was your favourite player or athlete growing up?
Timapara George Clark. She's had multiple last names. But
Netballer.
I think, she was a
Yes.
netballer. Like, I grew up playing netball when I was younger. And obviously I'm vertically challenged, so I couldn't continue.
Vertically challenged.
Yes, I actually was a good netballer, you know. I made it to, like, the national development for New Zealand. So,
Go
like,
girl.
I got there and, like, I was playing wing defence. And, like, honestly, it was ridiculous. They had, like, a wing attack that was, like, way up there. I felt so out of place. But
I was a centre, so I'm a tall centre.
That's funny.
Love that. That's a good one.
Good one. Next one. Hardest opponent faced.
I just hate tackling Amber Paraswore. Like, I just think that's probably like in terms of like hardest. Like, she's someone that I always dread. Like, I try and rush up, like sprint up, just so I can maybe hold onto her ankle or something. Because like,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
just really aggressive. Like, she doesn't just like run hard. Like, she wants to hurt you. Like, and even when you get caught by her in a tackle, like she like lifts you up, bangs you on the ground, squeezes the life out of you. Like, she
Yes.
really
So funny.
is like a bully.
In training, she's the same. Like, if we're ever running like edge v edge shape, literally every time the right side she was on the left. Literally, there's like squeals come and you can like just feel her coming because you know that she's like in train. Like, she's probably not even going that hard, but just a little like shoulder into you and you
She's
get
deceptively
whacked.
fast.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize how fast she is. So she gets up in your face and like her frame, she's got great like balance and footwork. So like, my God.
Yeah, so funny. Like Jess Surgis, Jocelyn Kelleher. Every time there's like a ball and they're running at them, they're like, ah, like you just these little squeals. I feel like you'd be the same.
Yeah, same. Can relate.
Best player or teammate you've played beside?
Best player. I love playing with Bo. You know, we played since I've moved over, like from sevens, come across the league. So I'll definitely have to say Bo.
Good one.
Good answer. If you could be a professional in one other sport, what would it be?
Ooh, dancer.
Oh, you wish.
Just call me MJ.
Oh my gosh. Do we have some videos of
Nah.
these?
100% we do.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because now we can show the people what you're talking about. Good one.
No.
We've got a good
You're the
montage
worst.
of
They're the worst. So every time that everyone's having fun, Kiana has to record it. And she's like,
so
like
we can relive
every
it
time.
forever.
For moments like this.
no.
Now I've got to show the world, to show our listeners.
Yes,
Thank you for
100%.
that one.
What would your last meal be?
Definitely hot chips. Ooh.
Chicken salt?
No, I don't really like chicken
Oh,
salt that
get
much.
out.
Like with regular stuff.
Sorry?
Like just with the meal. Like, I don't like chicken salt with steak, you know? How do you like chicken salt and chips with steak?
Wait,
'Cause
what's
it's
steak got to
chicken,
do with it?
But like, like you wouldn't just have hot chips on your own, would you?
Oh.
Maybe I would actually.
Yeah.
A
Hot
dry
chips,
potato.
chicken salt, gravy.
So you're just a plain salt gal.
Yeah, I'm just a plain salt girl.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, hot chips. I'll die happy.
Love it. Most used app on your phone?
TikTok.
Yeah, I knew it.
Not surprised.
Well, my freaking Instagram's hacked, so
Now you're a little Chinese lady.
Chinese tranny.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll post that up as well.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Too
funny.
funny. Favorite song?
Ooh, I like Hallelujah by I can't
We've
remember.
never heard
Stan.
that one. Can you
No, it's
just
like-
give us a quick little...
Yeah.
Hallelujah. I'll get to moolah. Do-da-do-da, do-da. Do you know that one?
So it's not Stan Walker.
I was thinking some Stan Walker.
It's like
Hallelujah.
like-
reggae something. Oh no, what is it? No, it's a good
We'll
song.
have
Is
to
this a
find that
TikTok
one.
song?
Nah,
True. I thought you were going to say He Honore.
Yeah.
nah,
Do you want to give us a
Nah.
quick
Give
little...
us a little.
nah. You're stitching me up now. Don't
No,
bring
okay.
back old
Sorry.
videos. Like, it sounds like you already got.
I think we've got footage on that too.
No,
We do. So
you don't.
we'll just tell the people. So we do this like Boxing Day and New Year's Day tradition where we play big game of touch, go down the beach, couple of drinks, and then we go home and we continue drinking. But we do a little initiation. And Nita's choice of song for her initiation. Sorry, we usually get some backup music. That's the thing.
Initiation's usually a performance of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Choose a song. We'll play the song. You can sing or you can dance. Nita goes and she's like, I don't need any music. And we're like, okay, if you insist. And then she comes out with He Honore.
I think we were right in the thick of Moldy's camp and we had to
Oh
learn
my
the
God.
song. So she just belts it out.
You
No
belted
backup
it out,
music.
all right? Do you remember that one?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll post it so you remember.
No.
You're welcome.
I
welcome.
just remembered.
I'm still going to post it.
Oh my God, that's the best. Can't wait to see that.
So good.
Okay, couple more.
Almost
Favorite
there.
TV show or series?
Oh, I used to love Dragon Ball Z when I was growing
Me
up.
too.
Same.
Yes, Dragon Ball
Old
Z.
girls.
Yes.
The girls, like, if we said that to
That's
some
our
18-year-olds, they
era,
wouldn't
isn't it?
know.
Oh, and also Charmed. Did you used to watch Charmed?
Yeah, the witch one. Yeah, didn't mind
I
it.
did.
Love a bit of fantasy.
True.
Love that old school.
Yeah.
You old gal. Lucky last one. If you weren't a footballer, what would you be? And don't say Michael Jackson.
I don't know. What else do you can like yell at people and boss people around? I don't know.
Coach.
Yeah.
You do that already.
Yeah. Okay. So
Or an actual coach.
Yeah.
Football.
Footy coach.
yeah.
Pour your team. You'd hate to be in that team.
Oh, whatever. I'd be well versed.
I reckon you'd be
in
a good
everything.
football coach.
For
Never
under
know.
sixes.
We're still young.
London's team.
Oh,
She
no.
would not listen to
Nah.
you.
We can't. I can't even train her.
Tell
She's
us about
like,
Lundy quickly, real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Your
I have
daughter?
a 10-year-old daughter.
Yes.
And actually, she's been so naughty this week. We had to take her phone off her and whatnot.
Uh-oh.
It all started because she was like just telling like little lies, like bad ones too. It's so unfair.
London against the world.
Yes, I know. Meanwhile, this kid gets everything she wants. She's got like a $500 skincare routine.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
she's
These
the
kids
old-
are TikTok, man.
She's the ultimate
gosh.
hustler.
I don't know if I
just-
could do daughters.
Yeah. No.
Far
Stick
out.
to the sons.
Nah, too funny.
She's just like you.
She's the best.
No
She's
way.
literally your little twin.
She
I
is.
know. Just too much energy though.
We love London.
We do love London. I reckon that's enough stories, guys. Oh, we've gone over an hour. We need to get out of here.
Get out of here.
It's your fault, man.
Your fault. You
Good
asked stories.
stories.
Nah, good chat.
No, that was good.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Nate.
No,
Appreciate you
thanks for
coming
having me,
in.
guys.
Good luck this weekend and for the rest of the
Yes.
season.
Well, we don't
Yes.
play each other, so good luck to you too.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll bounce back and
Yeah.
can get another win for our club.
100%.
Bounce back is on.
Let's do it. Let's get in the winner's circle next time, eh?
Let's
Yes.
go.
All right.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Nates.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.